Sharief, the Super Bowl's in your city here. I would imagine you've probably been to one of these, whether or not you went to Miami or whatnot. But this one in New Orleans, this is special for a lot of people around here.
I tell people, like, no city can rival New Orleans when it comes to the Super Bowl because it's an easy city to walk. You can go to all the bars. You can go to Bourbon Street. You can go Frenchman. You can go to all the restaurants. You go wherever bars you want to go to. You can go CBD. You can eat anywhere. You can go to the Dome easily. It's walkable. This whole thing is walkable. And the best thing about this week is the weather's great.
Yeah, we're lucking out there. I mean, this could have been 2 weeks ago when we had a bunch of snow on the ground.
That
would have been an absolute
covering snow, 10 inches of snow. I never want to see an ounce of snow again.
That was no good. But it's going to be good here. But there was some news in Saints land, obviously, on Super Bowl week. The report from Adam Schefter comes out on the Pat McAfee show, says, hey, barring any hiccups here, Kellen Moore is going to be the guy. We talked about it last week, kind of thought it was trending that direction. But you got a chance to talk to Kellen Moore last night as the Eagles participated in Media Day. What was that like? He kind of talked about it a little bit off the air, but he can't speak to it because they can't officially agree to terms next week. But y'all were all right there in the mix.
Oh, man. I've never seen an assistant coach have so many media members around him like I saw Kellen Moore yesterday for the entire hour. The New Orleans contingency just sitting there talking to him, peppering him with a million different questions, trying to get him to break. But he was not breaking. He was like Fort Knox. The guy was not saying much. I think Larry Holder might have asked him a question, hey, can you get used to coaching here and being here since, you might be here? And he kind of laughed and chuckled. And he was like, yeah, I enjoy playing here. It's a tough place to play. And he also mentioned, about being at the Manning Passing Academy a while back whenever he was a quarterback at Boise State, which he was awesome, 50-3, still holds the record, most wins for a college, quarterback in college football history. But, yeah, he talked about all that kind of stuff. He didn't really want to – he said the interview process went great, and that's about as far as he got with the whole Saints coaching search. But yes, it's going to be him.
Based on your tone, like he did handle himself pretty well.
Yeah,
he had to know what was coming in this city based on what his last 2 weeks have been like. But that's still a kind of a pressure-packed spot to know that you're getting all these questions. Everyone knows what's going on, and you can't really go there. It makes things a little more difficult to stay composed, I would guess.
Look, he's dealing with the biggest game of his life.
Yes, we didn't even mention that.
And he's also dealing with us. New Orleans media trying to ask him about a job that he can't really say much about because of league policies, and the Saints can't really name him until after the Super Bowl. So it's like he's kind of in a tough place. But he handled it well. He handled what type of coach he can be. And I thought he was quiet, but he wasn't quiet. It was like he was kind of a talkative guy. Kind of laughed, and that's good to see. He has good personality.
Do you think this is a risk for the Saints?
With risk comes reward. And it's time to go outside the box, right? They've played it safe. With Dennis Allen, defensive coach, it's time to move away from the Sean Payton, coaching tree. Guys he hired or guys he knows. It's time to go outside the building. Just rip it apart. Good or bad, you got to try something different.
Right. And this is a tough question to answer, but I think more just for the discussion. There was a report from I think it was Diana Rossini that said that Kellen Moore was not enamored with Derek Carr as the franchise quarterback. That may have put things in a snag as far as Kellen Moore to the Saints may go. And then the next day she came back and goes, maybe he's okay with it. What do you sense from that situation? Obviously, Kellen Moore and Derek Carr are contemporaries.
Yes. We just talked to Diana literally right before you texted me. We went over there and talked to her and asked her, it's like, hey, is Derek Carr going to be part of Kellen Moore's plan? She goes, yeah, I think he's going to be here next year. And I might have to agree with her. Like it or not, he's probably going to be here next year because he probably doesn't want to go into a season that it could turn out bad. You need to have a quarterback. I just don't think he wanted to go in there with the other options unless they say this isn't it for us. We need to maybe draft a guy.
It's so easy for a fan and certainly for us here in the media to go, hey, just cut Derek Carr, eat the dead money, put Spencer Rattler out there, win 3 games, and get the second pick in the draft. But that's not really, generally speaking, how organizations run. It sounds nice for us to say that, but you've got a lot of people that are involved that are not really in the business of trying to lose games.
That's what we say.
Yeah.
What we say is not what they're going to do because it's a multi-billion-dollar football team. You don't risk versus reward. You don't know if you can come back from that. Some teams have never come back from trying to tank and get a quarterback. Look, some of the teams like the Browns.
Yeah.
You could turn into the Browns. You could turn into – I'm not saying the Jets tank, but you could turn into the Jets. You could turn into the Panthers. Maybe their franchise turns around. But it's a risk you're taking. You're always taking a risk. Look, it worked for the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
They got Jaden Daniels.
We don't know if it worked for the Bears.
Yeah, it didn't work for the Bears. So that's the problem, the risk you're going to take. That's just not Mickey Loomis's thinking. They want to stay competitive. Now, maybe it's not done purposely. Maybe they do struggle again in his first year coaching. It's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while. In 2 years, their cap is going to be good.
Yes. If they don't add to it.
Yeah, no,
I
think that's what they're going to try avoiding here in the next couple years. I think they'll be fine with the cap, and they'll be able to bring it back.
And that would be a shift in philosophy, and that's really all we're asking for here is to realize that there's been an error here. You did what you could do at that time. Now you got to, to your point, move on and move in a different direction. You also got a chance to talk to Doug Nussmeier, who coaches the quarterbacks here for Philadelphia, and there's rumor that he could be attached with Kellen Moore. What did you learn on that? Obviously, that name pretty familiar in Baton Rouge.
We're trying to get him to break about Kellen and the type of coach he is. He's just laughed it off and said he's a good leader, very smart, very innovative. But he also talked about, Garrett and just the job that Garrett Nussmeier has done and his son and how good he's going to be.
If Doug interviews like Garrett, then he didn't give you anything last night because Garrett Nussmeier couldn't be more cordial in the interview room, couldn't be more polite, but he doesn't say squat. We tried to get him to push on like, hey, what do you think about you facing off against Jackson Dart? What do you think about you facing off against Jalen Miller? He's like, I think we're playing Ole Miss on Saturday.
He's a coach's
not going to do anything. Yeah.
And that's how Doug was kind of like that. We got him to break a little bit when we talked about his time here in New Orleans as a quarterback under Jim Moore. He's like, because Fletcher showed him the video the time that he was playing with the Saints. He goes, did you guys have to go like across the street under the tunnel to dig out that video? And I was like, probably so. The video is pretty old. But, that's the most personality he showed whenever we talked about his time with the Saints.
So we thinking Monday, Tuesday for this? I guess it maybe depends on how the result of the game goes. If there's a parade or something, like who knows? I don't know what they got to deal with. But thinking Monday or Tuesday?
I say it drops Monday morning and they introduce him Tuesday.
Does the Super Bowl do that ridiculous
press conference
next morning press conference like the national championship?
Absolutely.
Who invented that?
I think it's ridiculous.
Didn't Sean Payton just show up to that in sunglasses in Miami?
Look, that was weird in Miami. It's like everyone was partying throughout the entire night into the morning, and then you're asking guys to show up at like 8 o'clock in the morning to talk about something you just talked about literally like 7-8 hours ago.
Yeah, I don't think Kellen Moore's got to be involved in that because he's the offensive coordinator, but it's still a terrible idea.
They would never introduce him the same day, so it'd have to be Tuesday or Wednesday.
All right, and it's interesting. It'll be kind of a new era. What do you think the air of the town will feel about that hire and about kind of something new?
They'll talk themselves into it.
Yeah.
At first they were like Kellen Moore, and then now they're like Kellen Moore. All right, Kellen. Yeah, I think that
Do you think there's a 1-year grace period?
You got to give him a couple years. You can't just be mad if they go 5-12 and be like, he's got to have a couple years. You got to give him the grace period. I'm assuming he's probably telling them I need that 5-year contract, and he deserves to have that 5-year contract. So yeah, he deserves the grace period. You can't just.
Everyone knows the current state of the franchise is not good.
If Dennis got 2.5 years, he should get 5 years. That's just how it needs to go.
It's the Saints have not been interesting for a couple of months. They got it. Well, they were interesting in
3
September.
Years.
They were interesting in September.
But you knew what was coming.
And then you had to think about whether or not they're going to fire Dennis Allen. When are they going to fire Dennis Allen? And there was a little, and then it just went flat. It went flat line. And now there's at least a little something to chew on there.
Yeah, at least Kellen Moore brings you. Oh man, look what he did with the Eagles. Yeah. Yes, he's not bringing Saquon, Jalen, the offensive line, but which coach from a good team is bringing their good players?
None.
He's going to have.
But in this transfer portal in college, they do.
Yes. And unfortunately, the Saints don't have the salary cap to do that type of stuff. But he'll be able to put his fingerprints on his franchise, on his own team, and do whatever he wants.
Who wins on Sunday?
I like the Philadelphia Eagles. Not because I'm tired of the Chiefs. I like the Philadelphia Eagles. I like what they do with their offense. I like how they control the clock. I love how they have Saquon, and I like how Kellen Moore uses his pieces the right way. And I like their defense forces turnovers. So I think they get their revenge from the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
We'll see. Sharief Ishaq from WDSU with us every Tuesday. Made some time for us on Radio Row. Go find some famous people and talk to them.
You're the most famous person I've talked to.
That is not true. You just gave me a list of like 3 guys that are far more famous.
Patrick Peterson? Yeah, I did talk to him.
He's a little bit better than me. I don't want to play him in golf either. So, yeah, there's plenty of him walking around. Get after it. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button. Leave your comments in the section below. And hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.